Hi, my name is Joel Kalvasmaki. I'm a member of NAPS's Digital Humanities Committee, and I'm here to facilitate a workshop on optical character recognition, OCR, which allows you to extract text from an image. In this workshop, we're going to use OCR to try to build a very small corpus of texts for early Christian studies. First, we'll survey some of the many OCR applications that are available, and then demonstrate actual work through a program called Tesseract. We'll show how to install the software and offer advice on how to optimize your OCR workflow. Our primary example will be in English, but we'll offer a second one in ancient Greek. And in the workshops that actually follow, where we come together, we'll be exploring texts that you're interested in, whether they're in Greek, Syriac, Latin, or some other language. As we come together, we'll be getting input mutually from each other. We're all beginners in this. We all make mistakes, and nobody's an expert, certainly not I. I hope you enjoy learning along with me. When you first joined this workshop, you were given access to a Dropbox folder that looks something like what you see on the right. There's a series of subdirectories. We'll not worry about those right now. And there are two Word files in the root, OCR reference and OCR steps. We'll look at the OCR reference right now. This is a handout that goes through some of the things you might want to know about when you're thinking about constructing an OCR workflow. There are some paid products you can use to do OCR. Adobe Acrobat, part of Adobe's Creative Suite, provides software that allows you to recognize text within a PDF. It is a paid subscription service. There's a competitor, ABBYY Reader, which allows you to, again, extract OCR from a text and approach it in a more fine-grained way. It also provides much better results than Acrobat does, although it does lack support for ancient languages. A third service you may not know about is called Transcribus. This project was developed at the University of Innsbruck and is a comprehensive platform for the digitization, AI-powered recognition, transcription, and searching of historical documents. Their primary focus has been on handwriting recognition, so it works actually very well for something simpler like OCR on printed texts. Transcribus models are currently focused on a handful of languages: Arabic, English, Ethiopic, Old German, Polish, Bangla, Hebrew, and Dutch, but you can train the software in a language and a script of your choice. You can go ahead and use that service for free, but if you want to use it extensively, there's a paid subscription that you can get. If you become a member, you also become an owner of the company, and the owners are basically other academics who are doing this kind of work. A number of free products are available. Gamera I've used to some success. It's based on a program called Python. It requires a bit of knowledge of Python and how to set up your system for configuration. Tesseract, which is what we'll be using in this workshop, was originally developed by Hewlett-Packard as proprietary software in the 1980s, but was taken over by Google in 2006 after it was released as open source software. It includes many language training models, including those in Greek, Syriac, Ethiopic, Armenian, and so forth. There's a free service called i2OCR, which is built on Tesseract. It's probably one of many services that use Tesseract. And it includes the Greek training model. And so if you are uncomfortable with the command line, which we'll be doing, you can just simply use this free service to get the text that you want. There's a program called Kraken, which is a non-Windows service. It's for Mac or Linux only. I've not used it, but I've heard very good reports from those who have that it's among the best OCR programs that are available. And then I'll mention also Nidaba, which is a workflow that requires some good background knowledge of Python and system configuration. So if you are a power user, you may find that to be a very interesting piece of software. There are a number of projects that have used OCR to produce texts relevant to early Christian studies. Archive.org, the World Service for the Web, provides OCR support for its texts. It uses ABBYY Reader to transform its PDFs to make them searchable. The Open in Greek Latin project has sponsored a number of side projects, including the Open Patrologia Graeca project and the Patrologia Latina project, as well as the CSEL project, all of which are using OCR to make available large significant corpora for early Christian studies. Other large corpora you may want to know about in Greek, Latin, Syriac, and Coptic are provided here. And then there are some auxiliary tools that we'll be exploring. PDF to text allows you to take a PDF and extract the text. You don't need any special software to do it other than this PDF to text. You don't pay for it, it's free, and it allows you to get quickly the material that you might already have in a PDF, and then you don't have to worry about doing OCR. There's another product we'll be using called PDF to PNG, which allows you to convert a PDF into images. You'll need those images because that is what Tesseract uses to run its software. And then there's a comparative program we will be using. It's a Windows-only system, but you'll be able to see what some of the differences are in OCR results as we go through. So that's our first step. We'll now move on to the OCR steps. At this point, we need to get your system set up to use Tesseract. I'll be doing my demonstrations on a Windows machine using Windows 10. If you have a Mac, you'll find installation a little bit easier if you follow the rules on the resources that I've shared with you on the handout. You want to install the main package, Tesseract itself, and there are instructions provided in the link that I provided on the handout. If you're using Windows as I am, you'll find it much easier of all the different options to use the executable provided by the UB Mannheim website. A traditional executable, you simply download it as you like, save it where you want, and then when it's done, you go ahead and install it as a traditional executable. You'll also want some sort of text processor. This is a no bells and whistles processor of just plain text. My preferred one is Notepad++. There are many options. I've listed a few on the handout. Find the one that you're comfortable with. Hopefully it's one that supports regular expressions, such as Notepad++ does. There's some optional software you may want to include that I find very helpful personally when I'm doing my PDF work, or OCR work. XPDF Reader includes two very good packages in it that we'll be using. One is called PDF to text, and another is called PDF to PNG. And there's instructions for downloading here. I also like to use a file comparison tool, such as WinMerge for Windows, and you may want to install and use that. You also want to set up your files. Our demonstration is going to be relying upon files provided by archive.org, an English translation of St. John Chrysostom's On the Priesthood, and a Greek edition of the same text. In the download files, you see there are many options. In this case, I've used the PDF, which has recognized text in it, because everything that archive.org provides, or most of it, is scanned through the ABBYY service. For the text we're going to be using, the OCR results are not optimal, as we will see. Once you've downloaded all of these files and installed them, you'll want to set up your environment. In this case, you're seeing a picture of my file structure as I provided to you. I like to enumerate my subdirectories so that I can see where things are in the particular workflow that I've set up. And you'll see that I've downloaded the 2 PDFs from archive.org in a directory called 1 raw files. We'll look at some of the directories later. In using Windows, you may find that you need to add an extra step if you don't get Tesseract working on the command line, as we'll try in the next section. For a full setup, hit the Windows key and type environment variables. You'll need administrator privileges to do this. There's a button here, environment variables. And the option you want to look at here is called path under system variables. Path is a list of file directories on your system that should be treated as the primary place for Windows to look for programs that you ask for it to execute from the command line. If you hit edit, you'll see there's a list of file paths here. Order is important because when you issue a command on the command line, the operating system is going to go one by one through these different directories looking for one that has an executable by the name you've just provided. In our case, you'll see Tesseract OCR is here and XPDF is here. That means you can have different installations, but it's going to be the top priority path that wins. If you need to add the path to your installation of Tesseract, you'll need to do that by clicking Edit, or if you need to change it, do Edit, or if you like, you can click New and add the path where you've installed the files. One other thing you need to know about with Tesseract is that there are language files. In my case, I have installed Tesseract on my local C drive, C program files, Tesseract-OCR. There's a subdirectory there called test data. Test data has all of the different language modules that I prefer. You can add language models as you like just by copying files in here, either directly with this train data extension. You'll also want to pay attention to your script subdirectory, which has particular scripts. And these files can all be downloaded through the Tesseract OCR website under test data. All the Tesseract data is keyed to a particular language code. So you find the language code you're interested in, and you can download that particular file as you like and install it just by copying and pasting that file into the appropriate directory. At this point, you should have everything configured, and in the next section, we'll try to do some work.